This video is going to talk about division of whole numbers by unit fractions and introduce dividing whole numbers by fractions. This is a conglomeration of two different sections. So we're going to start off by asking how many 1/2s fit into 1. So if I have this 1/2, this one whole, and I cut it in half, how many halves are there? Well, there's 2. Glad we've settled that. Go ahead and write division equations for these. How many 1/3s fit into 1? Well, that would be 1 divided into 1/3. Just like over here, we had 1 divided into 1/2s. Now we have 1 divided into 1/3s. Go ahead and write the rest of the division equations, and then we'll talk about it. Welcome back. How many 1/4s fit into 1? 1 divided by 4ths, or 1 divided into 1/4ths. Also, 1 divided into 1/5ths. Now they want you to actually do the division. Oh, good golly gee. Letter A says 1 divided into 1/6. How many 1/6ths are in one whole? Well, it takes 6 to make a whole, right? So there's 6. How many 1/7ths are in one whole? Takes 7 to make a whole. 7. Try the other 2. Just give it a shot. 10. And 9. Whoa, what about this one? Done. Now, they want you to work in groups of 4. Nope. Let's figure out how many halves fit into each of these. How many halves fit into 1? What's 1 divided by half? Well, if I have one whole and I split it in half, that's 2 pieces. What if instead I have 2 divided into halves? Well, if I have a second whole and I also split that in half, now I have 4 pieces. What if I have 3 split into 1/2s? Now I have 3 wholes, and now we have 6 pieces. 4 divided by a half means that now we have 8 pieces. Whoa, the answers. What if we talk about 1/3? And I want you to try this without drawing a picture. If I have 1 divided into thirds, I would have 3 pieces because the pieces are each a third. What if I have 2 divided into thirds? Well, if 1 has 3, 2 times 3, that's 6. What about 3 divided by 1/3? Well, 3 pieces in one whole means 9. What if I have 4 divided by 1/3? Well, 3 pieces make a whole, and I want 4, I'm going to split 4 things, so that would make 12. What about 1/4ths? I'm going to go ahead and write out the division equation. I'm going to let you get a head start on that. So if we have 1 divided by 1/4, that means 4 pieces make a whole, and I have 1 whole. I have 4 pieces. If I have 2 things split into fourths, that means 4 pieces make a whole, and I have 2 wholes. I have 8 pieces. 3 divided by 1/4 means that 4 pieces still make a whole, but I have 3 wholes now, so 4 times 3 is 12. 4 divided into fourths, now I know that 4 pieces make a whole, and I have 4 wholes, so that means 4 wholes each broken into 4 pieces is 16. go ahead and try these. What you might notice is that you're going, because we're using unit fractions, which means it's the number 1 on top for all of these, we have the number that makes a whole times the number of wholes each time. So 5 into 1/4, 4 parts make a whole, we have 5 wholes, that's 20 pieces. 2 divided into 1/5, well, 5 parts make a whole and we have 2 of them. 5 times 2 is 10. 7 times 3 is 21. 6 times 5 is 30. Give this one a shot on your own. When you come back, we'll talk about it. Welcome back. 9 divided by 1/2, that's going to be 18 pieces. 10 things, each split into 1/7, that's going to be 70 pieces. 8 things split into 7ths, 8 times 7 is 56 pieces. 9 things divided into 1/8 pieces, 9 times 8 is 72. Now, we did dividing by unit fractions. Let's start looking into dividing whole numbers just by fractions. How many 1/5 fit into 1? We literally just talked about this. 1 thing split into 5ths means that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. 1 divided by 1/5 is 5. How many fit in to 4? So if we had 4 divided by 1/5, so I have 1 of these, but there's actually 4 of them. So that would be 20. Let's say I want to know how many 2/5 fit into 4. Well, I know that 4 divided into 1/5 pieces, there's 20 of them there. We just talked about that. But if I want to split it into 2/5 pieces, this is, everybody gets 1 piece. If everybody gets 2 pieces, that would be 10. Because up here was just into 1/5. If I have 20 things split into 2, that's 10. So instead of just counting 1/5, we needed to count blocks the size of 2/5. So let's say that we actually take a look at that problem from before. 4, we have the whole number 4 right here. Here's our 4. Divided into 2/5 sections. So we can see there's a whole bunch of fifths here. This is 2/5. This is 2/5. 2/5, 2/5. You can see that we took the number 20 and we divided it into groups of 2 so that now we get 10. Then you can use pictures for this, or you can go ahead and give it a shot. 2 divided by 2/5, I know that 5 pieces make a whole, and I have 2 of them. 5 times 2, that's 10. But I want groups of 2 out of that. So 10 divided by 2 is going to be 5. Over here, we have 3 divided into 3/4. Well, there's 4 parts that make a whole, and I have 3 wholes. So 3 times 4 is 12. But I want groups of 3. So 12 divided by 3, that's going to be 4. 3 divided by 3/5, 5 make a whole, and I have 3 wholes. 5 times 3 is 15, but I want groups of 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 4 divided into 4/5, well, we can see here, I have 5 things that make a whole. 5 times 4 is 20, but I want groups of 4. 20 divided by 4 is 5. Let's take a look at this another way. Remember that we can turn a whole number into a fraction by putting it over 1. So 2 would become 2 over 1. 3 would become 3 over 1. 3 would stay 3 over 1, and 4 becomes 4 over 1. When you're dividing fractions, you can use a strategy called multiply the reciprocal. And when you multiply the reciprocal, it means you leave the first fraction in fraction form. So you can see that we changed each of these first fractions into fraction forms. You change the division sign to multiplication. And then you find the reciprocal, and that means the flip-flop, essentially. It's not the technical way to explain it. But you flip that second fraction upside down. So let's take a look at this now. 2 times 5 is 10. 1 times 2 is 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Keep the first number a fraction, change division to multiplication, find the reciprocal or the flip-flop. 3 times 4 is 12. 1 times 3 is 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 3 over 1, that stays in fraction form. Change division to multiplication. 3 over 5, the flip-flop of that is 5 over 3. 3 times 5 is 15. 1 times 3 is 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 4 becomes 4 over 1 because that's the fraction form. Change division sign to multiplication. Find the reciprocal, or the flip-flop, of the second number. Becomes 5 over 4. 4 times 5 is 20. 1 times 4 is 4. 20 divided by 4 is 5. If you know that 8 divided by 1/6 is 48, so you know that 6 times 8 is 48, they want you to use that to divide here. You can use a number of different strategies here. We can change 8 to 8 over 1 times 6 over 2. 8 times 6 is 48. 1 times 2 is 2. 48 divided by 2 is 24. Or we can look over here and we can say that 6 parts make a whole. 6 times 8 is 48, but I want groups of 2. So 48 divided by 2 is 24. 8 divided by 3/6, well, 8 becomes 8 over 1. Change division to multiplication. Find the flip-flop, 6 divided by 3. 8 times 6 is 48. 1 times 3 is 3. 48 divided by 3. I should probably show my work for that one. 3 goes into 4 one time. Carry the 1. 3 goes into 8. I don't know why there's 2 1s there. Whatever. 3 goes into 18 6 times. So my answer would be 16. Or 6 pieces make a whole. I have 8 wholes. 6 times 8 is 48. But I want them in groups of 3. So those 48 pieces divided into groups of 3 are still 16. 8 over 1 times 6 over 4. 6 times 8 is 48. 48 divided by 4 is 12. Or 6 parts make a whole. I have 8 wholes. 6 times 8 is 48. 48 divided by 4 is 12. Go ahead and give these a shot using the multiply the reciprocal method, or whichever method you choose, really. I'm not going to look over your shoulder. 10 over 1 times 3 over 2. 10 times 3 is 30. 1 times 2 is 2. 30 divided by 2 is 15. 8 divided by 4/5 becomes 8 over 1 times 5 over 4. 8 times 5 is 40. 1 times 4 is 4. That becomes 10 because 40 divided by 4 is 10. 6 divided by 2/7. 6 over 1 times 7 over 2. 6 times 7 is 42 over 2. 21. 15 divided by 3/4, 15 over 1 times 4 over 3. 15 times 4, well, I know that 15 times 2 is 30, so 15 times 4 is 30 times 2, 60. 60 divided by 1 times 3 is 3. 60 divided by 3 is 20. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a fantastic day.